to the closing ceremony of Guyana Extractive Sector Transparency Week. What a week! These last 5 days have been enlightening, informative, encouraging, and it sheds some light on some of the aspects of the topic that needs much discussion. And with that, as we are reaching the end of the conference, I'd like to invite our closing ceremony speakers to share their closing remarks. First, Mr. Philip Schwamm, the Senior Development Specialist from USAID, the Eastern and Southern Caribbean.
Minister of Natural Resources, Honorable Bikram Bharat, Honorable Ministers of Government, members of the Diplomatic Corps, EITI National Coordinator, Dr. Rudy Jaduppa, Executive Director of PADF, Katie Taylor, Regional Director of EITI Latin America and the Caribbean, Francisco Perez, members of civil society, members of the private sector, members of the press, distinguished guests. In 2017, Guyana took the bold step of becoming a member country of the Global Extractives Industry Transparency Initiative, or EITI. That was the result of a national commitment championed by the Ministry of Natural Resources to establish platforms for accountability, including the Multi-Stakeholder Group and the GYEITI, the National Secretariat in charge of coordinating EITI implementation, policy reform, and governance, as well as promoting greater economic and political stability. Countries joining the EITI adhere to a number of principles. The one that stands out for me, however, is EITI Principle 4, which is recognition that a public understanding of government revenues and expenditure over time helps public debate and informs choice of appropriate and realistic options for sustainable development. This connection between information and public debate is important. It is also a tenet of democratic governance. And while we have all heard the saying, knowledge is power, it is the application of information that holds real power. So in 2017, while it was indeed a bold start, it was just the start. This week's successful event demonstrated that while the agency of individual actors, such as government, the private sector, civil society, the media, and citizens matter, what can be achieved together is even greater. We heard how the information generated through the EITI and initiatives like USAID's Guyana Extractive Sector Transparency Project, or GYEST, can be applied by all stakeholders to aid Guyana's stewardship of its natural resources and wealth. With the conclusion of the week's activities, I reflect on how we have been part of a truly seminal event, one that will influence what follows with sustained positive action. The Guyana Extractive Sector Transparency Week was the first of its kind for the extractive sector in this country, and it is hoped that this tradition will continue as transparency and governance continue to play a greater role in the Guyanese economy. And how this particular sector is governed, because of its prominence and importance, has broader implications for Guyana's development and its citizens. Studies demonstrate that economic growth, investment, and political stability are deeply interconnected, and that over time, stable democracies promote greater prosperity and peace. The value of this interconnection between democratic stabilization, equitable economic growth, and improved livelihoods underpins USAID programming. We have long partnered with the government of Guyana and regional organizations such as CARICOM in supporting a broad set of interrelated initiatives in governance, education and workforce development, citizen security, climate resilience, and financing sustainable development. USAID's GYEST project and our partnership with the GYEITI, along with other programs supported by the US government, has been an important component of this broader relationship between the American and Guyanese people as neighbors, partners, and friends. Thank you to the organizers of this week's activities, and especially to the Ministry of Natural Resources and the GYEITI, who led stakeholders into a greater understanding of the importance and value of transparency and solid fiscal management of the extractive sector. I also extend sincere appreciation for the opportunity to speak with you today on behalf of USAID. As both stakeholders and shareholders in Guyana's future, it is my hope that the ideas, learnings, and connections that you have gained this week will engender continued progress in responsible stewardship of Guyana's natural resources and wealth for this generation and generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those closing remarks from Philip Shem from USAID. And now I invite our next speaker, Dr. Rudy R. Jadupat, PhD, the Guyana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative Secretariat.
Now, I want to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of this Transparency Week. It is indeed a pleasure to participate here. We have a lot more to say, but time does not permit us. We're looking for more Transparency Weeks and events. We want to thank the United States Agency for International Development that hired the Pan American Development Foundation through the Guyana Extractive Sector Transparency Project to provide some assistance to GYEITI also. It has been an encouraging relationship that we want to build on. And for you, Kitty, and the organizers, we want to say thank you very much. We have the team there, Mr. Dr. Rena Guendes. We have our videographer, Mr. Dana Ryan Chan. And we have Winnet Clark and others behind the scene operating. We want to say that you've done a very good job as of now, and then we're looking forward to seeing more activities and participating in a lot of the other items in the program that you have. So once again, my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you for this opportunity. I want to also thank the Ministry of Natural Resources for affording us this opportunity to participate. Remember, those are my bosses, the Ministry of Natural Resources. They allow me to participate. So I want to thank everyone for being here, and we're looking forward for your questions. And I want to encourage you finally, please go to our website, gyeiti.org. And our contact information is there. We are here to interact with all of you. All the citizens of Guyana. Write us, email us, call us. We can answer your questions all the time. Don't be afraid. We are here to interact with you, to create more informed debates and greater public awareness about the extractive sectors in Guyana, which is oil and gas, mining, forestry, and fisheries.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jadupat. And with that, I'd like to give the word over to our last speaker as part of the closing ceremony, to Ms. Rena Gündüz, Chief of Party, Guyana Extractive Sector Transparency Project from the Pan American Development Foundation.
Today marks the final closing of Guyana's Extractive Transparency Week. This has been an intense week filled with much dialogue, debate, and knowledge sharing. It has attracted both national Guyanese and foreign participants who represent government, industry, civil society, and journalists alike. All have come together to share and discuss distinct viewpoints and perspectives on Guyana's exploration, exploitation, management, and monitoring of its natural resources. It is our hope that many of you who have actively joined us throughout this virtual week have been able to carry away a piece of information, a seed, if you will, upon which to build a vibrant extractive sector that is inclusive of participation, consultative in sharing information, and in providing a voice, discloses information about the sector, such as revenue collection and allocation, and assures best practices, whether adopted or homegrown. All are at the heart of its management. These ingredients are all key to harnessing sector-wide transparency, accountability, and are enablers in providing desired benefits and opportunities to all segments of Guyanese society, while reducing the potential for conflict, risk, and of course, the resource curse. On behalf of the Pan American Development Foundation, the Guyana Extractive Sector Transparency Project, I would like to personally thank the high caliber of presenters for their thoughtful and powerful messages. I would also like to thank all the enthusiastic participants for their engagement, for their viewpoints and enthusiasm throughout this week. A special thank you to the Society for Investigative Journalists and the Derechos Ambientales y Recursos Naturales, also referred to as DAR. I would also like to take this moment to thank the Ministry of Natural Resources, his Honorable Minister, and the Guyana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, National Coordinator, and USAID and Her Excellency the Ambassador for their participation and generous support. Not to be forgotten, a thank you to the wonderful team who has busily been working behind the scenes throughout the week to ensure that this week comes off without a hitch. A thank you to you all, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Stay safe. Thanks again.
Dear participants, thank you so much for your participation throughout the week. Our panelists and speakers, thank you so much for your contributions. We wish you all a great weekend and a fruitful collaboration in the future. Bye-bye.